The power of boundaries. Ladies, let's talk about something that holds the key to transforming not just your relationships, but your entire life. Boundaries. This single word carries a power that many overlook, yet it's one of the most important things you can learn to set and enforce. Boundaries are not walls that shut people out. They are lines that define who you are, what you accept, and how you demand to be treated. And let me tell you, men respect women who respect themselves enough to draw those lines. Let's face it, too many women, in their desire to be loved or accepted, forget the importance of boundaries. They sacrifice their time, their energy, even their self-respect, all in the name of keeping the peace or being a good partner. But here's the truth. When you abandon your boundaries, you abandon yourself. And the fastest way to lose a man's respect is to lose your own. Boundaries are not about controlling others, they're about controlling yourself and what you allow into your life. They are an act of self-love, self-preservation, and self-respect. They tell the world, this is how I expect to be treated. If you can't meet that standard, you don't get a seat at my table. A woman who knows her worth and stands by her boundaries is magnetic. She's not desperate for approval because she knows that respect starts within. Think about the most confident, self-assured women you know. They don't chase, they don't beg, they don't bend over backwards just to keep a man around. Instead, they move with a quiet strength that says, I will not be treated as less than I deserve. And guess what? That strength attracts real respect from men. You see, men are naturally drawn to women who stand firm in their values. It's a sign of maturity, of inner strength, and of a deep self-awareness that many men find incredibly attractive. When you have clear boundaries, you show a man that you're not willing to settle for crumbs. You're not willing to compromise your happiness for his convenience. That makes you stand out in a world where too many people accept less than they deserve. But here's the catch. Setting boundaries isn't always easy. It means risking conflict, standing your ground, and sometimes even walking away from people who can't respect you. But that's the price of self-respect. You're telling the universe, and every man you meet, that you are not afraid to choose yourself over their approval. So in this series, we're going to dive deep into the 5 boundaries that instantly make men respect you. Each one is a reflection of your inner strength and self-worth. And by the time we're done, you'll have the tools to become the kind of woman whose boundaries command respect, inspire admiration, and attract the right kind of love into your life. Because here's the truth. When you respect yourself, the world can't help but respect you too. So get ready to embrace your power and step into the best version of yourself. The journey starts now. Boundary 1, respecting your time. Let's talk about the first and arguably most fundamental boundary that every woman needs to establish if she wants to be respected by men. Respecting your time. Time is the one resource you can never get back. Once it's gone forever. Yet so many women give their time away too freely, dropping everything at a man's beck and call, rearranging their entire lives just to fit into his. But here's the hard truth. If you don't value your time, no one else will. When you respect your own time, you send a powerful message to every man you encounter. I am a priority in my own life. You show him that you are not willing to sacrifice your goals, your passions, or your well-being just to please him. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to create a healthy balance. How does this look in practice? It starts with learning to say no. Say no to last-minute plans that disrespect your schedule. Say no to endless phone calls or texts that interrupt your focus. Say no to relationships that drain your energy and leave you feeling depleted. When a man sees that you guard your time like a precious gem, he's forced to acknowledge that you're not just another option, you're a woman with a life worth respecting. Imagine this. You're busy with your own commitments, whether it's your career, your passions, or simply taking time to relax and recharge, and he calls you at the last minute, expecting you to drop everything and run to him. Too often women think saying yes to every request will make a man value them more. But the opposite is true. A man values what he has to work for. When you don't make yourself too available, you show him that he needs to earn a place in your schedule. This isn't about playing games. It's about having self-respect. It's about understanding that your time is just as valuable as his. A man who respects you will understand and admire your commitment to yourself. He'll plan ahead, make time for you, and treat your schedule with the same care he treats his own. And remember, respecting your time also means making time for yourself. Self-care, rest, hobbies, these are not luxuries, they are necessities. When you prioritize your own life, you bring more to the table in every relationship. You show up as a whole, confident and fulfilled woman. A woman who commands respect simply by how she carries herself. So ladies, never forget, your time is a gift. Give it wisely. Invest it in people and pursuits that honor you. And never allow anyone, no matter how charming or persistent, to waste it. Because when you respect your time, you teach men to respect it too. And that is the first step to building the kind of relationship you truly deserve. Boundary 2, emotional responsibility. Ladies, let's talk about the second boundary that instantly makes men respect you. Emotional responsibility. This is a game changer, and it's one that so many women overlook. Emotional responsibility means that you own your feelings, your reactions, and your emotional well-being. You don't hand that power over to anyone, especially not to a man. Here's the reality. So many women get caught in the trap of making a man responsible for their happiness. They expect him to read their minds, to always say the right thing, to fix every mood swing and solve every emotional crisis. But that's a heavy burden for any man to carry. And the truth is, it's not his job. It's yours. When you take emotional responsibility, you show a man that you're not looking to him to complete you or to fill some void in your heart. You show him that you're strong enough to handle your own feelings, that you can process your emotions without blaming him, and that you can communicate clearly and calmly. And let me tell you, that kind of maturity is incredibly attractive. Imagine this scenario. You're feeling upset because he forgot to call you. Instead of lashing out, you take a moment to breathe and reflect. You ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why does this bother me? Is this really about him, or is it about something deeper? By doing this, you take responsibility for your own feelings. You can then choose to communicate your needs in a calm, respectful way, rather than attacking him or making him feel like he's constantly walking on eggshells. Men respect women who know how to handle their own emotions. Why? Because it shows them that you're not looking to them to solve your problems or carry your burdens. It shows them that you're whole, that you're capable, and that you're not going to drain their energy with constant drama. And believe me, that makes you stand out from the crowd. This doesn't mean you should hide your feelings or pretend everything is fine when it's not. It means that you take ownership of your emotions and communicate them in a way that invites respect, not pity. For example, instead of saying, "You make me so angry when you do that," you could say, "I feel upset when this happens and I'd like to talk about it." See the difference? One blames him, the other shares your feelings and invites a conversation. Boundaries like this create a safe space for healthy communication. They prevent resentment from building up and keep the relationship strong. Men are far more likely to respect and cherish a woman who knows how to handle herself emotionally. It shows strength, wisdom, and self-respect. And those are qualities that every high-value man seeks. So remember, ladies, take responsibility for your own emotional well-being. Don't put that weight on a man's shoulders. When you do this, you become a woman who inspires trust, respect, and genuine admiration. And that's the kind of woman every man wants by his side. Boundary 3, physical boundaries and personal space. Let's dive into the third powerful boundary every woman needs to establish to earn a man's respect: physical boundaries and personal space. Many women, especially in the early stages of a relationship, are eager to please. They might overlook their own comfort or ignore red flags just to keep the peace or avoid conflict. But let me tell you, a man respects a woman who respects her own body and her own space. Physical boundaries aren't just about intimacy. They're about how you allow people to treat you, stand near you, touch you, and even speak to you. They're about understanding that your personal space is sacred and that you have every right to protect it. Imagine you're on a date, and a man tries to move things faster than you're comfortable with. Maybe he's too handsy, or maybe he's pressuring you to share parts of yourself you're not ready to share. This is where you stand tall and say, no, not with anger, but with calm confidence. A woman who can assert her boundaries without fear of losing someone instantly gains his respect. Why? Because it shows you value yourself more than his approval. Respecting your physical boundaries also means not tolerating inappropriate jokes, disrespectful touches, or conversations that make you feel uncomfortable. If a man jokes about something that crosses the line, call it out. Firmly but gracefully. Let him know that you expect respect and that you won't tolerate being treated as an object or a joke. Men often test boundaries, sometimes unconsciously, just to see what they can get away with. When you calmly but firmly reinforce your physical boundaries, you show him that you're not someone who can be easily manipulated or controlled. That's a trait that commands deep respect, not just from him, but from everyone around you. Physical boundaries also mean giving yourself permission to say no to plans or commitments that drain your energy or make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you're tired, or maybe you just need some time alone. You have every right to set that boundary without feeling guilty. A man who respects you will understand that your well-being matters. Sometimes women think that being easygoing or always saying yes will make a man like them more. But the truth is, a man values a woman who knows her worth, someone who doesn't bend over backward to please everyone. When you protect your physical space, you show him that you're not afraid to stand alone if necessary. That independence is magnetic. Remember, ladies, your body is your temple, your space is your sanctuary. By respecting yourself enough to guard these boundaries, you teach every man you encounter that you are not to be trifled with. You're a woman who values her own comfort, her own peace, and her own self-worth above all else. And that, my friends, is the kind of woman every man truly respects. Boundary 4. Standards for communication. Ladies, let's move on to the fourth boundary that instantly makes men respect you. Standards for communication. This boundary is all about the way you allow people to speak to you and how you choose to communicate in return. Too many women fall into the trap of tolerating disrespectful, dismissive, or even manipulative communication from men because they're afraid of being seen as too sensitive or dramatic. But let's get one thing straight. If a man can't communicate with you respectfully, he doesn't deserve a place in your life. Setting standards for communication means that you don't accept yelling, name-calling, belittling, or passive-aggressive behavior. It means you won't let a man talk down to you or treat you like you're less than him. When you demand respect in the way someone speaks to you, you're sending a powerful message. I respect myself, and I expect you to do the same. It's easy to let disrespect slide in the heat of an argument. Maybe he's frustrated, or you're both emotional. But remember, how someone treats you when they're upset reveals a lot about their character. A man who respects you, even when he's angry, will never cross the line into verbal abuse. Imagine he raises his voice or calls you names. That's your moment to stand up for yourself. You might calmly say, "I'm not okay with you speaking to me that way. If you can't talk to me respectfully, I'm stepping away from this conversation." That's a boundary. It's not an ultimatum. It's self-respect. Standards for communication also go both ways. You have to hold yourself accountable too. Are you able to express your needs without attacking? Can you disagree without insulting? Setting this boundary means you also choose to communicate like a queen. Direct, respectful, and kind, even when it's hard. This boundary protects you from emotional manipulation, gaslighting, and unnecessary drama. Men respect women who don't engage in shouting matches or mind games. They respect women who know how to have a mature conversation, who can listen as well as speak, and who won't allow themselves to be drawn into a war of words. Another key part of this boundary is not tolerating silence as a weapon. If a man uses the silent treatment to punish you or control you, you have every right to call that out. A healthy relationship is built on open, honest dialogue, not on games of emotional withdrawal. Ladies, when you set the standard that communication must be respectful, direct, and honest, you teach a man how to treat you. You show him that you're not afraid of hard conversations, but you refuse to accept disrespect. This is how trust is built and how true respect grows. So remember, communication is the bridge between two people. Make sure that bridge is strong, stable, and built on mutual respect. That's how you earn the kind of love that lifts you up instead of dragging you down. Boundary 5. Financial boundaries. Now let's talk about the fifth and final boundary that instantly makes men respect you. Financial boundaries. Ladies, this is a big one. Money can be a tricky subject in relationships. But how you handle your finances and how you allow others to handle them with you speaks volumes about your self-respect and self-worth. A woman who knows how to set financial boundaries commands respect not only from the men in her life, but from everyone who sees how she values her independence. First, let's be clear, it's not about being stingy or refusing to help anyone. It's about having a healthy understanding of where your money goes, how it's spent, and who has access to it. A woman who is financially self-sufficient, who can take care of herself and who knows her worth financially, sends a powerful message. I am not dependent on anyone's wallet to define my value. Far too many women have fallen into the trap of relying on men to provide for them, thinking it's the key to security. But here's the truth. Real security comes from knowing you can take care of yourself. That doesn't mean you can't accept help, gifts, or generosity. It means you're not afraid to walk away if someone tries to control you financially. Financial boundaries also mean you're not quick to bail someone out or constantly loan money to a man who isn't responsible with his own. You're not a bank. You're not an ATM. You're a partner, not a financial crutch. If he's always asking you to pay his bills, buy him things, or constantly help him out, that's a red flag. You also need to have open and honest conversations about money. If you're in a serious relationship, talk about splitting expenses, saving for the future, and being clear about who pays for what. A man respects a woman who can talk about money confidently and who isn't afraid to say, I'm not comfortable with that, when something doesn't feel right. Another crucial aspect of financial boundaries is maintaining your own financial goals and priorities. Don't abandon your dreams, your investments, or your savings just because someone else wants you to. Stay committed to your financial future, and don't let anyone, no matter how charming, distract you from building your own wealth. And remember, ladies, generosity is beautiful, but it should never come at the cost of your own financial well-being. You are allowed to be kind and giving, but never at the expense of your own stability. A man will respect you more if you know how to say no to financial requests that drain you rather than empower you. Financial boundaries are about so much more than money. They are about self-respect, self-love, and the confidence that comes from knowing you can stand on your own 2 feet. When you hold these boundaries, you show a man that you are strong, independent, and deserving of nothing but respect, reinforcing your boundaries. Ladies, we've talked about the 5 boundaries that instantly make men respect you: self-respect, emotional boundaries, standards for communication, financial boundaries, and more. But here's the thing. It's not enough to just set these boundaries. You have to reinforce them consistently. Think of boundaries like the walls of a beautiful castle. You build them to keep out the chaos, the disrespect, and the toxic energy that has no place in your life. But if you don't protect those walls, if you let people come and go as they please, they're just decorations. That's why it's so important to stand firm when someone tests your boundaries. Because trust me, they will test them. Men, whether intentionally or unconsciously, often test boundaries to see if you really mean what you say. This is not necessarily malicious, it's human nature. We all test each other's boundaries to learn what's acceptable and what's not. But if you cave in, the moment someone challenges you, if you let them treat you in a way you said you wouldn't tolerate, then your boundary loses its power. Imagine you've told a man that you won't accept disrespectful language. One day in a heated moment, he calls you a name. What you do next sets the tone for the rest of your relationship. If you let it slide, you're teaching him that your boundaries are negotiable. But if you calmly and firmly say, that is not acceptable and I won't tolerate it, you reinforce that your boundaries are real and non-negotiable. Reinforcing boundaries doesn't mean being aggressive or defensive. It means standing in your power. It means knowing your worth so deeply that you refuse to allow anyone to chip away at it. It means being willing to walk away from anyone who refuses to respect you. This is where self-love comes in. When you truly love and value yourself, you won't compromise your boundaries just to keep someone in your life. You understand that someone who genuinely cares about you will respect your boundaries without needing to be reminded constantly. They will see your boundaries as a sign of your strength and maturity, not as an obstacle to overcome. Let's be honest. Reinforcing your boundaries might mean having difficult conversations. It might mean saying no when it's easier to say yes. It might mean walking away from relationships that don't honor your worth. But every time you reinforce your boundaries, you grow stronger. You teach people how to treat you. You build the kind of respect that can't be faked or forced. Ladies, men respect women who respect themselves. And the way you reinforce your boundaries shows the world that you are a woman of strength, integrity, and unshakable self-worth. When you live by your boundaries, you don't just demand respect, you inspire it. So remember this, boundaries are not walls that keep love out, they are gates that keep your soul safe. Reinforce them, cherish them, and never be afraid to stand by them. Because the woman who respects herself is the woman the world respects. Living your boundaries with confidence. And ladies, let's talk about living your boundaries with confidence. The final and perhaps most transformative step in making men respect you. You see, it's one thing to set boundaries, it's another to reinforce them. But the ultimate power comes from embodying them in everything you do, every day, without apology. Living your boundaries with confidence means they're not just words you say in the heat of the moment. They're not threats, ultimatums, or lines drawn out of desperation. They are the principles that guide your life, authentic, unshakable, and fully integrated into who you are. When you live your boundaries confidently, you carry yourself differently. You walk into every room with an unspoken message. I know my worth and I won't settle for less. You radiate an energy that says, I respect myself and I expect the same from you. This isn't arrogance, it's self-assurance. It's the quiet confidence that doesn't need to scream for attention because it's rooted in genuine self-love. So how do you live your boundaries confidently? First, you get crystal clear on what matters to you. Take time to reflect on your values, your goals, and your non-negotiables. Write them down if you have to. When you know what you stand for, it's easier to recognize when someone is crossing a line, and easier to respond from a place of strength instead of anger. Second, practice consistency. Don't just enforce your boundaries in romantic relationships, live them everywhere, with family, friends, colleagues, even strangers. When you consistently uphold your standards, you build a reputation for integrity and strength. People know that when you say no, you mean it. When you say yes, you mean that too. Third, trust yourself. There will be times when people try to make you feel guilty for holding your boundaries. They might call you difficult, cold, or too demanding. But here's the truth. People who truly respect you will respect your boundaries. The ones who call you difficult are often the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries in the past. Let them go with grace. Finally, remember that confidence is a practice. Some days, it's easier than others. Some days, you'll find yourself second-guessing your worth. That's okay, it's human. But every time you choose to stand by your boundaries, you strengthen your confidence muscle. Every time you refuse to compromise your self-respect for temporary validation, you become more powerful. Living your boundaries with confidence is not about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about owning who you are and showing the world that you are not afraid to demand the respect you deserve. It's about inspiring others to rise to your level instead of lowering your standards to meet theirs. So stand tall, walk proudly, and remember this. The woman who lives her boundaries with confidence is the woman who commands respect, love, and admiration, not just from men, but from the world. Let your boundaries be the blueprint for the life you want to live, and never be afraid to honor yourself every step of the way. You are a queen, and queens don't ask for respect. They expect it. Ladies, we've journeyed through the 5 boundaries that instantly make men respect you, and hopefully you now understand that boundaries aren't barriers, they're bridges to a stronger, more authentic, and more fulfilling life. Boundaries are not just lines you draw, they're declarations of your worth. They tell the world, this is how I deserve to be treated, and they show others that you refuse to settle for less than the respect you deserve. In a world that sometimes teaches women to put everyone else first, to shrink themselves to fit into someone else's story, boundaries are the armor that protect your spirit, your heart, and your dreams. They empower you to step into your full potential without fear of being taken advantage of or overlooked. They remind you that you are not here to please everyone. You are here to live your truth. When you embrace these boundaries, self-respect, emotional boundaries, standards for communication, financial boundaries, and your time and energy, you step into a new level of confidence. You teach men how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. You inspire them to rise to your level of respect, integrity, and honor. And the men who can't handle your boundaries? They were never worthy of your time in the first place. Remember, boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're about creating space for the right people to come closer. People who see your value, who honor your needs, and who respect your journey. The strongest relationships are built on mutual respect, not on compromise that erodes your sense of self. So I challenge you today to live these boundaries boldly and unapologetically. Let them guide your decisions, shape your relationships, and define your standards. When you do, you find that the respect you crave doesn't come from begging, pleasing, or tolerating the wrong behavior. It comes from showing the world that you respect yourself first. It's okay to say no when it's easier to say yes. It's okay to walk away from people who don't treat you right. It's okay to protect your energy like it's your most precious asset, because it is. Every time you enforce your boundaries, you build a life that reflects your worth and attracts people who appreciate the real, authentic, unstoppable woman you are. And when you feel unsure or afraid, remember this: boundaries are not walls that shut the world out. They are gates that let the right people in. The ones who will love you, respect you, and cherish you for the incredible woman you are. So stand tall, speak your truth, live your boundaries every single day, because the woman who knows her worth is the woman who commands respect, and she never settles for anything less. You are worthy, you are enough, and you are unstoppable.